Okay. Hello. Welcome back. We are now in the next tutorial about making a comic book page. I'm going to get into penciling real soon, but for about 12 or 14 minutes we're going to talk about the structure of the script and how that leads up to the page that I'll be starting to draw. Let's cut away to that, and then we'll come right back here.
So let's get started with the penciling process. And what I'm doing here is I'm going to show you a mocked up page of what I penciled already. My process is I come up with the penciling, then either have the script ready or write the script after the pencils, then create a version where it's mocked up, where I have the word balloons and the sound effects already in there. So this kind of stuff in here I didn't really, I didn't pencil these in, of course. But let's take a look at the next page. Okay, so let me bring you up to speed on the story. It's let me go to the color pages previously. Man and woman, he's been through some violence, and they're on the lam. They're being chased by a motorcycle gang. They're not being chased by the cop. Cop's going the other way. But they're being chased by the motorcycle gang, okay, who are ready to shoot. See, they're going one way. The backup, more reinforcements of police are going the other way. And we turn the page, chase scene, okay. And then here's the truck with our two main characters zooming past the cops. The shots fired, the cops see what's happening, they turn around. Big 1970s cruisers and Dodge Poleras, they're a lot of fishtailing, a lot of smoke. Now they're on their way pursuing the same direction as the bikers, who are now trying to kill these two people in the car, in the truck. You can see that they got the spiderweb windows cracked and everything. Woman in the car doesn't want our hero Calvin to use his gun, so she comes up with a different plan. It goes off the road, swerves around and around, and creates a big dust storm, and the bikers can't follow them. Okay? I'm breezing through this really fast because this is not the subject of the video. I'm just going to bring everybody up to speed on where I am in the story and what the next page is to draw. Okay, so we have this. Then the reason why that one first cop was zooming past him, right here, this guy, okay? He wanted to go see the biker gang's clubhouse up in flames. It's important to him that it not be up in flames. He wanted to see for himself. Okay, now the fire department's here. He's talking to a witness. He talks to the fireman. He wants them to go in there and save some stuff that's important to him in the building. They say hell no, because it's fire is fed by gasoline inside. He punches him. Okay. He's just a general all-around asshole. Nobody likes him. He doesn't care. And he shuts off his police radio, has a smoke, and waits and waits and waits. When this is in color, it will get darker and darker and darker, and it's like early evening here. We found some bodies. Tap, tap, tap. Okay, so what happened to the man and woman in the truck? Well, they found a place to hide. Right here. See the hands, the keys, the shadow, hotel. And this is what I got penciled up here so far. We're getting real close to where I am going to begin starting the story again. They're holed up. Well, here, let me. She's telling him to go in the bathroom and get cleaned up, and then leave. Leave town. Don't let the bikers find you. She's going to do the same thing. Now, here's where. It's an adult comic book, and there's going to be an adult scene in here where she has a change of heart, and all that adrenaline, all that excitement, all that danger, she needs to find a way to release that stress. So she decides, she's having a cigarette right here. He's in the shower cleaning off. She decides to strip off her clothes, approach him, and on the next page they'll make love in the hotel. Right, so that's the whole setup here. Again, adult theme, so But actually, this might be pretty good because then those of you out there are curious about like the human form and how they relate to a scene. I think either whether it's making love or fighting or any kind of physical action, it's all the same really. It's trying to figure out how to tell the story and how to keep the reader's attention occupied. I don't really overthink it too much. When I drew these pages, I just kind of went with a flow. This right here on the right, I believe it's page 21. I needed some device that turned it from mid-afternoon to early evening. So the rat hole bar is ablaze. The officer, Gene Sturgeon, he needs to sit it out. He wants to see what's in there. There's something important in there. And so he's going to sit in his patrol car, and he just goes to sleep. And you see how the flames here are bigger, smaller, smaller. And like I said, these are, when they get colored, it's going to be darker, darker, darker. And now we're into the evening. This whole page here was just a device to get me to tell my story in the evening times. Kind of setting the mood for more like a motel rendezvous, kind of erotic part of the story. Between an older woman and a younger man, and so there's where it sits. Now, that's where the story is drawn. Let me go here to the script. The script is done in outline form. I can take these little shapes here and move them. They're little pointers. If you can't read that on your screen, it says inked in black and penciled in gray. And let's see if there's a... I'm looking to see if there's a zoom in. Okay, here we go. Ah, that's good. Okay. Yeah, this probably will do better. Now you probably can see what's going on here. In the light gray, right here, we got the page numbers. With bullet points is very, very roughly the idea of what's going to happen on each page. This didn't turn out exactly as I planned it in some spots. In some places it's pretty close. You see here it says pages 16, 17. Well, that's the double page spread. That's the Officer Sturgeon looking at the fire. Okay, then we get page 18, 19, and like I said, I'm up to page 25. I finished at page 24. Oh, the other way, sorry. Okay, there we go. Okay. There she is. So now, there's really no layout, per se, in the page. This is a little trick I do on the outline. I'll have red-lettered bullet points that aren't really directions in the script, but they are notable or visible points that either have sex or violent or some kind of eye-catching content there. Okay, drug use with a cop. Okay, and that way I can monitor if I'm putting too much kind of adult stuff in there, or if it's been a long dry spell before any really hardcore stuff has happened. Anyway. So we got page 25 and page 26. Then we cut away the last panel right here. Pool hall establishing shot. Voice. Shit, man, that's fucked up. Interior pool hall. The big heavy Griffin is his name. He's the bad guy in the story, and he's a major kingpin drug dealer. Anyway, we have a scene in the pool hall that lasts a few pages. Then we have one last scene back in the hotel, and Calvin is relating to the awful things that happened to him earlier that day to Angelina after they made love. And then we pull back outside the hotel, and there's a police car that is observing them, that knows where they are. And that's the end of the comic in this installment. So, we got page 30, 29, 28, 27, 26. So I can't make the lovemaking scene too long. And for the purpose of this video, going into the penciling, I'll probably be just showing you the first page. So we got one page, and then the tail end of the last page, and then how much of the pool hall we got? We got, this script says 27, 28, 29, 3 pages. But it's a lot of talking, not a lot of action, so I think I could condense this. So what I want to do maybe is, this is just one half of the two-sided page, so the lovemaking will continue on this is the left side, on the right side of the page, and then maybe 2 more pages, so we might have a 4-page scene, the sex scene, okay? And that way, we go to the pool hall, which could be on page 28. Then the pool hall is page 28, 29. That could do it. That could work. Because the pool hall doesn't have to, it's not one big grandiose establishing shot. It's just a cutaway, more or less, to add to the action in the story. And then finally the police converging on the hotel. Actually, in the very, very last panel, we'll have, as you saw how the biker gang kind of got caught at the end here, the police down here. They followed them off the dirt trail, and now they're rounding them up. Well, this guy, Officer Sturgeon, in the very, very last page of this comic, maybe in the last couple panels, will be at his state trooper outpost with 2 of the bikers in custody with their motorcycles on a flatbed truck. And that's the beginning of part 4. Okay, so let's get ahead and start thinking about the penciling process.
Okay. So let me start out with what this is. It's Bristol board, smooth, 11 by 17 inches. To format it the way I do it for a comic book, which will eventually be about 6 5/8 by 10 1/4 inches. I go in a 1/2 inch on the sides and a full inch on top and bottom, so like inch, 2 inches, and then 1 inch for the sides, making the live area here 10 by 15 inches. Okay, and I number the page I'm on the top. You won't believe how many times I've accidentally started penciling a page upside down. Also, I'm going to erase all this after I get done inking it. So I also go on the back and number the page on the back, so that if it gets out of order, out of sequence, I'll know where it goes to. So anyway, yeah, talking about making love. Cue the Barry White music. Anyway, the important aspects of the comic book page, which I already talked about, are your ideas and how long the scenes are going to be, the length of the scene. In this case, we're talking 2 pages, maybe 3, and that's important to know before you start doing it, so that you can have a good idea about what kind of pacing you can put in there. The forms, of course, 2 people in a room. Think about different camera angles, close-ups, far away, and then the space. Where we're going to move in the space here. Okay. One little thing I'm going to do, what I'm thinking about is, like, they're in the shower, right? So first thing, either he's going to carry her to the bed, or they're like wrapped up in embrace going to the bed. This narrow panel here, like on it, maybe knocking I thought it'd be really funny. This is set in the 1970s, and knocking a radio off, maybe in this movement here, and then it's not a part of this panel really, but then it gets featured right here, like a little close up, and it's going to be the Raspberries Go All the Way. Look it up on Google. You'll get a laugh. It's cheesy 70s music, and he's not playing the radio in the motel room, but let's say the in the throes of passion they kick the radio off, and then it's right here, and then here and here I was going to do like point of view of her, then flip it, have the radio, and then point of view of him, and maybe like a worm's eye view, have the radio down here as well. Like that's just an idea I just threw in there just to get it started. So excuse me, I'm looking at the other computer and seeing the previous page. I can also whip out the previous page. It's all inked up. Let's see. No. There you go. Okay. So to get the idea, like the finished product, when you turn to this page in the comic, it's going to look like that. Okay, so we have the close-up. Then this has to kind of answer that. They're in the shower, but now they're in the main room of the motel room. It's a very small motel space. And getting an idea, but now I kind of am close to what I think I want. This dimension is kind of problematic. So we have the coming out. Notice I'm drawing off the panel a little bit because I'm trying to figure out where the bodies would be. What's that thing called? The newlyweds over the threshold. His crotch might be there. I might have to do something with shadows to make it a little. Not that I'm afraid of drawing a penis. It's just that I don't want that to become the focal point of the panel. I want the reader to look at this stuff. Okay. So there, yeah. Open doorway. And then, okay, that's the bathroom into the motel room. And then the bed. How about, yeah, like the bed sheets like bunched up on the back here with the radio going flying. Okay. But then, okay. Yeah, I think that'll be pretty cool. So I'm just gonna, for the sake of clarity, I'm not gonna end up with an arrow in the final drawing, but they're like flinging left to right on the bed sheets crumpled up on the end, radio flying. Then I guess how about this last now? Not necessarily a flag, like she's moving, so like she's on top here. I don't know. That might be a good idea because that. So I got kind of the structure, the shape of the page going, and that'll be it for this session. In 2 weeks' time, we'll have pencils fully rendered, and I'll show you in a more concrete way the way this page is starting to take shape. All these gradations and nuances here turn into a more solid. The pencils stop being pencils; they turn more into like an ink drawing, in that you have much more contrast. You take the eraser. I have a special, this. It looks like a pencil, but it actually has a thin eraser in it. So I'm constantly taking stuff out and erasing and creating white space, darkening in the dark space, and making that contrast really work for me. Also, keeping in mind that you're going to have color put in there too. So you've got white, black, red, yellow, blue, and those are the 5 elements that you have to kind of balance out. In other words, don't do a lot of cross hatching in the background. When you combine color to that, it looks muddy. Make the blacks shrink away and go into the pockets where the blacks would be. Like when you take a black and white photograph and really up the contrast, where looks like a nuclear blast. You know what I mean? Like the shadows are just like little tiny pockets. That's what you have to think about. How far you're going to dial that in. Now, some comic books, they have a lot of black, and it's just a few thin white lines to define the page. That's fine if that's what the story is. But in terms of this page, it's going to be bathed in kind of a warm light. They're keeping the light on. There's no moonlight, no Venetian blinds, no parking lot lamp. So it's the warm lamp light. I could experiment, since they knocked the lamp over, with weird lighting effects, like coming up from the bottom. That would be kind of interesting. And so far, I just got the basic, kind of newlywed cradling her in his arms pose, coming out of the shower, slamming onto the bed, his point of view, and then kind of her point of view, flipped it, but more like the radios down here playing the Raspberries Go All the Way. In 2 weeks' time, I will go all the way and show you how it's penciled. Excuse the change in wardrobe here. I'm adding a little more video on the next day, so it's tomorrow compared to what was earlier in the video. I hope that we got off to a good start and you understood what I was working on for the page. And now I want to turn to my comic book critique. That's where I spend a few minutes going through the pages of somebody who submitted their work to me. This week it is submission by Brandon. Another mouthful here from Mexico. Chiricigno. I'll put that in the subtitles here. His correct spelling here. He has no dialogue. He has a penciled action scene that I'm going to be critiquing. And without any further ado, let's go right to it.
Okay. And it's a very, very interesting, detailed, just manically expressive detail in his drawings, and he looks like a guy who's just drawing like crazy all the time. So I really encourage him to keep it up. And he's got so much down here that's right on the money. That really does propel a story forward. He said he had dialogue for this, and I haven't gotten it yet. But I don't care. I mean, there's enough detail in here that really tells me enough about this story. So we got these two guys here. They're going down a corridor in this dirty, dilapidated city. Everything's broken. There's graffiti. They're going through. There's this thing that they're going to reach at the end there. There aren't too many pages here. There's only 7 pages, so we'll just run through them. He discovers there's this, what looks to me like a robot child, a boy robot perhaps, or it could be a masked boy, reading something out of a book, and they laugh at him, approach him, and maybe something not so nice is going to happen here because it looks like he's undoing his belt buckle or something. Like there's they're going to, but then suddenly this hero emerges and challenges them, and they get into a fight with the hero, the two guys, the spiky haired guy and the helmet guy. First it's the spiky guy. There's a back and forth fighting, beating up, punching. This is a good feature here. Anyway, I'm just laying out the action here, and then the other guy gets his head twisted by the robot boy, and the two of them are kind of a team. They're together at the end of this little fight scene in the corridor. But let's back up here. Let's break this down one by one. Let's go over the strong points first. Like I said, there's really great attention to detail here. I'm assuming these are in the penciled stages. The decrepitness, the bad teeth, all the details in here really do put me in the atmosphere of this space. And then another good thing is that Brandon chooses not to draw detailed backgrounds when there's major action happening here. There's no need to. We're seeing everything. These two characters really going after each other, and this guy is really got major musculature going. Brandon really knows his anatomy. Everything's in a really good proportion. There's nothing sticks out as like a bad proportion, or like maybe there's parts of the human body he doesn't know about. Brandon is a pretty good master of anatomy, and this right here is really cool. I like the fight scenes again with the blank background. That's a strong point. We show a wall getting busted through. The punk guy, I'm not quite clear on what he's punching. Did he miss, or because the other guy is way behind him? And then the other guy, the soldier, gets attacked by the robot boy, and the two end up being a team. Okay, and this one right here, we have really good use of contrast. We have the shadows and the whites. I'm not sure what you're going to do with this, if you're going to go ahead and ink and color it later. But again, the penciling has a nice kind of restraint to it. You're filling in blacks and you're leaving out the white areas. And there's a lot of pages here with really good contrast. Okay. The second thing is that the characters have a really nice continuity to them. It looks like if there's a strap or a weapon or something hanging down, you're good at replicating it, making it over and over again. And that's easy to make mistakes on. You forget to put some things in a character, or you forget that he had a gun in his left side, and then the gun disappears and it reappears again. And then overall, just the details of this story is really good. Oh, okay. This kid is wearing a mask. Okay, he's not a robot boy. I see it right here. Okay. So, and the expressiveness is good. Now let's go over the weaknesses here. Number one, man, you really got to do something to separate these panels better, because right now everything's bleeding into each other, and it's hard for me to read the page panel to panel. So some kind of device. They don't have to be white gutters. That's the separations between the panels. They could be black. You could do that in Photoshop if you have any computer editing software. Yeah, so definitely do something about the gutters here so we can read your story Second thing, you don't have the dialogue in yet, but like let's take a look here at like this panel. Okay, this would be a good example. See how high their heads are here? If they're saying anything at all, the words are going to have to be like right by their heads, all right? So a good habit to get into is if there's going to be dialogue or any kind of words being spoken between characters, just lightly pencil in a circle or a balloon where they're going to land, where they're going to go in your page. And just remember not to put anything important in that area, otherwise it's going to get covered up by the balloon. And also, it's easier on the eyes for the reader if the word balloons are treated like almost like they're a character in your story. Like let's say you have a character here, okay, and you have a character here, and they're part of the space. Imagine that the words they're saying are kind of like characters too, and they get their space where there's a balloon, there's a head that's saying something, a balloon, a head that's saying something, and it all flows really nicely. Nothing looks tight or cramped or looks like you didn't plan on it, and you got to put it in there, if you know what I mean. Okay, so that's like a beginner's problem where when there's talking, they forgot to leave enough room. Now, in something like this, like a fight scene, you have the heads, again, they're high up on the panel, but that's okay. Like in this panel right here, in the upper right here, if he was saying something like, you know, you could fit that in. You could fit like real brief sound effects. So you don't have to worry too much about the spatial relationship with the words and the balloons. And then, let's see, the quality of the drawing, another knock, I'd say, it falls off a little bit in some areas, like in here. This, he's twisting his neck, okay, killing the guy, I assume, the bad guy, like the boy with the mask, he's helping out. But this just doesn't, it doesn't quite do it. Like the surprise, I mean, he's a big, giant, tough guy, and this kid's arms are this tiny and little, and he's what, just taking him out just like that? Unless he's a robot boy. Now, oops, I'm sorry. I meant to zoom back. There we go. Now, I could be wrong. If in your story, say he's got special judo skills or commando skills, he knows how to just twist a head just perfectly with his skinny little arms and kill anybody, then I can understand that. Like maybe this guy down here says, hey, how are you able to kill him? And it's like, well, that's the one little skill I have, twisting heads. Oh, really? That could come in handy. I don't know. Then that would make sense. You know, it comes as a surprise. But if he's doing something really, supposed to be doing something really badass here and killing this guy, it's not really doing it. Okay. But yeah, overall, I'd say just keep on drawing. You've got really good skills in anatomy, skills in contrast, whites and blacks, and the detail is just really, really fabulous. It looks like you're having a lot of fun working on this. So it really just comes down to, Brandon, just make sure you figure out something to separate the panels better so we can read your story. And when it comes, when you get to the day that you're going to put the dialogue in here, think about how much space that's going to take and make sure you draw your people with their heads down lower so that they'll have room for that. Otherwise, I'd say just keep it up, keep the good work. And
okay, be sure to subscribe to this YouTube channel to get more comic book tutorials on penciling, inking, lettering, formatting, coloring, the whole thing, getting your pages ready for print. Also some tips about drawing and aesthetics and human form, human figure, stuff I picked up over the last 50 years or so. Be sure to check out my store. It's shop.timsnotebook.com, where you can pick up the latest copy, hard copies, real, actual printed comic books of my hit Mayfield 8 story of set in the biker culture in the 1970s. I hope you enjoyed this, and I look forward to seeing you guys again in 2 weeks' time.